Hey, Spuddies! Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome to Lords and Villeins. This is a sponsored video. Please give a huge shout out to the developer of the game and the publisher for sponsoring this video. I super appreciate that. And if you're interested in getting the game yourself, there will be a link in the description, there'll be a link in the comments, all that jazz. But without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this game. Because when I initially first put my eyes on this game, I thought it was just gonna be any other, colony management game, but it is actually quite a bit more than you would suspect at first glance. There's a little bit more going on here that kind of really, I don't know, it kind of just has this kind of strange appeal. And this is our map setup. I'm going to be setting up Potatopia because this is my favorite settlement name whenever I'm playing these type of games. I'm going for a maximum map size. I have my seed picked out. I flicked around for a nice seed, and I'm a swamp boy. I like the idea of going into swamp. We have all the game modules activated, and I will be the rightful and honorable potato, and the surname of my royal family will be Whiskey. Otherwise, I don't care about these other guys' names, but I just know that it's important. Well, I could have a partner, actually. Genevieve. Milady Genevieve. And my two sons, Guy Joffrey and Audrad. Let's go ahead and jump right into the game. So, we shall certify our oath of fealty to the king, and we shall begin the construction of a town. Welcome to the world map. So this is Lords and Villeins, or Villains. And we are starting off at a swamp map because I really like the swamp map for a variety of reasons. I know, it just really appeals to me. We have a few things that we need to take care of. We have a variety of villager families in our town. We have a farming family, we have a foraging family, and we have a fishing family. All of these guys will be able to take on a variety of roles inside our town. Mostly, these guys will handle farming and food production, these guys will handle foraging and wood production, and these guys will handle the fishing. We can get more villagers and more towns, but more townspeople and all that sort of stuff. But there's a few sort of housekeeping things that we have to do before we start the game. This game is not like any other game. Rather than having a centralized communist-style system where everyone owns everything, ownership is actually modeled in this game. At the start, I will own everything in this town, but as time goes on, people will buy things from me. I will buy things from people. I will build a noble household. We will move clergy into the town. We will move blacksmiths. We'll have a large economic engine. We'll deal with trading. We'll do all sorts of stuff. So let me take a moment here to set up my town, how I want to set it up, and then we'll discuss what I've done. Alrighty, let me tell you and show you what I've done and why I've done what I've done and the general plan that we have here for the game. So we have our warehouse location where all of my resources get stored. These are resources that I can use, I can give, I can do whatever I want with them. This is a household. Now, you notice there is actually nothing built here. If I go to blueprint mode, the only thing that you can see being built are these little bridges that I've put across the river, just because I think transportation across the river will be useful for the long-term development of this settlement. If we take a look at this household right here, it is assigned to nobody, and there's a variety of things that we can build in here. But the very first thing we want to do is actually give it to a family and then choose the type of freehold that they have. So, for example, we can give them a free farm, which essentially means they have direct control over the land. They can do whatever they like. They just pay me taxes every season. Every season happens 4 times a year, of course. Over here we have our little seasonal clock. And whenever this little dial hands hits one of these cardinal directions, these guys will pay this much money to me. Not too worried about that at the beginning of the game because I don't need to buy much from my people, so I don't need much in the way of taxes. But I am going to go ahead and give them this house with the free farm. Now, I do have the option to give them total control of the land. Essentially, they are exempt from taxation. That might be something you can look into later on. But for now, I'm just going to give... Also, I don't know... I think I spent so long setting up the game that the music, ended. Okay, I don't know how to get the music to start back, but whatever. You'll have to make do with my voice. Yeah, so now we've assigned this to the fisherman family, and now they have a fishing pool, and they have basically what they need. I'll also give them the fishing pool, by the way. We will choose this type of settlement will be a stewardry. So everything they fish and make will belong to me, but they will be paid for their work. So for now, we're going to go for a company town setup, just so that I have full control of the resources. Then resources will be sold back to the people, and they can buy what they need and produce what they need. And then once we have a few more families, which is what the inn is for, the inn is a building that you use to build, and people can visit and sleep in the inn. and potentially new families can roll on through the inn and join your town. We have a marketplace here. This is where the families in the town, when we built up a nice economy, they will actually exchange goods and services in here. We have another household over here. This one in particular is actually for the foragers, and I'm going to give them a free farm as well for now, because I don't mind. And this over here is the royal forest that I have built along the edge of the river. That's because the soil fertility is really high. This, I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but I'm kind of experimenting with the idea of running my forests along the edge so that trees and stuff grow really quickly. I don't know if this is a good move, but it's something I'm experimenting with. And then there's this kind of square area here where all of the wood processing will be done. I don't know if this is a good move. It's just kind of something I'm experimenting with to attempt. These guys I will give stewardry as well, so they will be paid a wage. However, all the resources that they produce will belong to me. So if they want to buy things, they'll have to buy them from me. Then down over here, we have where I wanted to build the farming family's house, the Nash family. They will be given free farm as well, so they will pay taxes. And then we have the farmland here, with a rather large area for planting, and then a decent sized area here for doing like things like threshing wheat and storage. Let's go ahead and assign this to the Nash family. Now, we won't be making use of all of this farmland and all of this royal woodland immediately, but it will be part of the plan long term. Now, okay, so we've divvied up the land and we've done what we need to. The very first thing we need to do is to actually take some servants from these families, because I need to be able to build two really key things. I need to be able to build the manor, which is my own personal house, the cottage, which is where my servants live, and the kitchen, where my servants produce my food. You'll notice that my house is a lot bigger than other people's. However, this is not going to be the initial blueprint of these things. These are just like the starting blueprints. The houses will start small, but the reason I make them bigger is so that they can expand to meet the needs of my people. We also have an inn here. We'll need to get that built. That's going to be assigned to someone eventually, but probably not for a little while, not until we're actually established. Now, one of the big problems we have is because we're on a swamp map is there's a lot of woods, there's a lot of forestry stuff here. So actually developing and building up our land is going to take a little bit of time. But anyway, first things first, let's take some servants. So the Gand forager family has actually a pretty decent family size of 8. So I might take 2 adults from here. Yeah, I might take Hrotho and Adriana as my servants. So let's go ahead and make Hrotho and Adriana as my servants. That'll leave them with a healthy 6 pop, 4 adults, 2 children. So they'll be able to continue working on. There's like a whole marriage system. I'm not really sure how it works because it doesn't tell me who you're married to, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it looks like Richmond and Juliana are married, but I don't fully understand the family tree thing, but there is a whole like family tree. Your people will have children, all that stuff. And now that we've divvied up the initial land, we need to kind of decide what we're going to build on that land. However, before we do that, what I'd really like to get done is to build a storefront here. And I have a storefront placed, and the storefront is how your citizens are going to interact with your warehouse. In fact, it's how citizens are going to interact in general with everything. You want to build a storefront like pretty much all over the map. You want them everywhere, because then people can go and buy stuff from each other and put things on sale. And it's sort of the method of how your people in Lords and Villains will actually exchange goods and services, which I think is a really, really cool game mechanic. And I really, really like it. All right, so we have our storefront open. Now, before we do anything with the storefront, we should probably create some demand for goods that we plan to sell to the people. So if we take a look at the Whiston household, they have a family size of 3. And they own 2 plots of land. They own the fishing pool and this. So they are probably going to want to build a house. Now, in terms of our resources, if we check our materials over here, we have mostly wood, mostly planks, mostly wax, mostly stone. We have a little bit of straw. I don't see any clay in here. So we're going to have to build these houses out of pretty cheap and crappy materials. The first thing that I like to do is to actually design the sleeping quarters. So I think this house will have a road running up on the right side of it eventually. So I will let this be the back end of the house. We'll pop a little bedroom there. So now they're going to build that. We will need another bed for the other occupant of the house. And the way these beds work is basically people only need to have access to one of the tiles that are in checkered squares. So I could, in theory, then decide to put, like a chest, boom, in between these beds, which I think I will do. Very simple reason being that people need to have somewhere to store their money, and it's a good way to keep an eye on people's money so I can maybe change their wages or buy stuff from them to refill their coffers. It would be good for most places to have some shelves so they can store important resources like meals, and then that should actually do them for the beginning of the game. So I'll pop them down some walls. I'll pop a little wooden door in their house for them. And that's these guys built. Now, I used hay. I also used some planks, and so I used hay and planks. Now, in order for them to actually build this, they need hay and planks to be available. I'm also going to make a floor in here. They can have a very crude wood floor inside their house for now. We're building very, very cheaply and not especially, exceptional houses here. So we're going to go into our warehouse now, and we are going to go into our trading menu, come down here to straw. My people need to be able to get straw. So I would like to be able to sell straw to my people at the market rate of 3 coppers. 100 copper makes 1 silver, 100 silver makes 1 gold, and I think families start off with about 250 to 300 gold in their coffers. So we will be selling straw. We will be selling wood, should the families need it. Wood's a little bit more expensive. I might give them a little bit of a discount on wood. Well, no, they're going to produce wood, and I'm going to buy it back off them. So any wood they buy, that'll be fine. And we're also going to sell planks. So that's wood, planks, and straw. Those are the basic building blocks of every single family's house. Now we just have to repeat that for everyone else's house. However, these guys have a little bit more in the way of population, so they'll need a slightly bigger house. But the good news is they'll be able to build faster because they have more people living there. So that's our second house built. We just need 6 beds, a chest, and a shelf to store some basic goods. And then we'll come up here to build another house. These guys also have 6 population. I don't know if I think there is a way to like take blueprints, but I'm not really sure how to do it. It's not particularly important, so it just basically follows a pretty simple formula. You place a double bed, you put a space between it, you put 2 single beds together, you put a space between it, you put 2 single beds together, and then you put a wall around it, making sure that every bed is accessible. You close the gap slightly, like so, and we shall get ourselves a chest. Now, the cool thing is we can expand these houses whenever we want to meet the need. So I like to try to underbuild rather than overbuild. There's no need, like these people have a certain set of needs. There's no need to exceed them by, an exceptional degree. Let's make sure we put a crude wooden floor in for these guys. Now we need to start to build the cottage. I think it's important to house the workers here first rather than the noble family, because I don't really do much other than manage the town, so I don't need anything right now. I'm okay with being like a little bit upset. I have currently 2 workers, so I will need a very, very basic setup of 2 straw beds surrounded by hay with a wooden door. There's plenty of room for this to expand, but for now, this is what I want my servants to work on, get themselves a very, very basic house for them to live in. Now, important to note, these houses won't and don't have roofs yet. So my population will go around and start clearing out the areas. Important to note, these destruction orders, right, to remove a resource, these are a higher priority than other types of orders. So they will get these done first. So just keep that in mind. If you play on a swamp map with a heavy forest like this, your people will be very busy for a very long time clearing out stuff, which I'm totally fine with. Perfect. Okay, so I reloaded the game, but actually to try and get the sound fixed, I accidentally hit the M key, which mutes the game audio, which was not what I had planned to do, so we'll just quickly reload into my town. I'm kind of learning as I go here, but I did do quite a fun test game. So now we'll just let the villagers get to work. There's not much for me to say or do at this point, so I'll probably just leave the camera here while they clear up and build their houses in like a pseudo time lapse. So enjoy. Oh, oops, there's actually one thing I totally forgot to do, and that was to distribute food. Kind of important, actually. Let's go ahead and make sure we hand out some meals to everybody. I'll give 150 meals to everybody. So you'll get 150 meals. The Gand family will get... Kind of an important thing to do, so that, you don't get mutinies where people, decide to cut your head off. They get a little choppy sometimes. Now, my people will be unfortunately sleeping on the floor here for the first couple of days, because we're playing on a forest. It's hard to build houses. If I were to build a bridge across the water to get that done, probably get it done a little bit quicker. That's fine. Day 2 has dawned, and a little bit of progress has been made. There's like a little bit of a clear-cut area over here that I had planned so that I can do what I need in terms of wood production. This house is coming along nicely. They've started to clear off the land. Nothing is built yet. The cottage for my workers has started construction pretty nicely too. They've almost got the land clear there. The farming house is about halfway clear cut. It'll take them about 2 days to clear out the land. And it looks like the fishing house, actually. These guys have been making really good progress. Almost completely clean cut. And they're starting to install beds. They're starting to install shelves. Installation is going ahead. And that's kind of the advantage of having a rather small footprint. It is the dawn of day 2. A couple of people slept in bad conditions. My people are lonely. And people lack comfort. That's okay. That's probably to be expected in the first few days of setting up a town. It's hard work to set up a town. the initial, the initial town, it won't be very nice. There's not going to be a whole lot of beauty. There's not going to be a whole lot of joy. There's not going to be a whole lot of amenities. However, we have almost fully completed our very first cottage here. And now that the cottage is basically complete, well, I'll wait until the floor is completed. We can get to work on making my own bedroom, the manor house. Now, these zones are actually really, really important because how it works is if a family owns a zone, they will do any and all construction in it, and they'll buy materials and they'll do what they need to do. If it's owned by me, my servants do it and I pay for it. And if it's outside any zones, I pay for it as well. So there's kind of like a delineation of like rights and responsibilities right from the get-go in this game. Looks like the farming cottage is coming up. They're doing well here. Now, they will store all their resources in trash piles on the ground. We will come up with a solution for this in the near future. But right now, nothing we can really do about it until we get these houses up. Until we get these people some beds, really, is what they need. Oh dear, there's a couple of wolves running through my town. Oh dear. Oh, I see. Actually, a crude wood floor requires a carpenter. I did not realize that. Okay, so I may have to ixnay on the crude wood flooring, and instead we'll just go to basic dirt flooring. Yes, okay. So I was wondering why they weren't building it. That's okay. You live and you learn. I didn't realize that basic wood flooring required a carpenter. We'll have to get a carpenter into the village. Now let's clear off the land plots for everyone. Let's like make some room, because if we clear off the land, we know what we can work with. We know what they need to do, and so we're going to place down a little bit of dirt all around these houses, and they should clear cut their land, and then we'll be able to start placing things like storages and outdoor storages, and just know what these people are working with. Now, my own house will be rather Spartan at first. I will have essentially a very, very basic set of rooms. Now, we need to build noble beds. I don't think, do we actually even have rope and stuff to build those? No, in order to build noble stuff, we would need carpenters. So I guess I'll cancel the noble stuff for now and get my workers just starting to lay out, like just building these bridges, for example, is fine by me. The inn plot isn't owned by anyone yet, as far as I'm aware. So I believe my own laborers will take care of that. And I do have 4 laborers, which should be good enough to start getting the inn built. And then I'll give it to one of my peasant families to manage. I think I need to expand my housing system here to hold another couple of beds. So we'll do a little bit of dismantling and rebuilding, because I actually have 4 servants, not 2. A couple of them are sleeping on the ground outside. Not ideal. Also, I need to build a barracks. Let me see. How many soldiers do I have in my town? So there's my ruler's family of 4 people. I've got the high council, cooks. I have no cooks. I have day guards and night guards. So I'm going to need a barracks fit for two men. All right. So we reworked the manor here. We've got a barracks. We've got a cottage. Look at the manor. All this stuff is working together to make my own holding. And that should be plenty of room for now. Houses are starting to be built, which is good. Let's make sure we fill in these basic areas what we want, and we'll go ahead and clear up any errant flooring. So now these guys are going to need somewhere to store all these excess resources that they produced. So I'm going to give them a set of ground storage, which is basically a place that you could just put kind of resources you don't really have anywhere else for. They're just like little stockpile storage that you might see in a normal game like this. We're also going to give everyone the ability to sell resources. So just on a temporary basis, I'm going to put a storefront at the front of every single house so that they can buy and sell resources to me, and I can get access to like all the stuff they have on the ground. Like, for example, all these wood rods, they're just keeping them on the ground. I can actually buy this off them and give them a little bit of money. Now, they're spending a decent amount of cash, so it would be a good idea to get that prioritized. Yeah, every family has a little bit of cash on them. This fisherman family is running out of money the fastest. I can always gift them stuff. Ah, right, I see. It's small shelves I wanted to build, not regular shelves. So let me go ahead and cancel. It's kind of like the game has a little bit of a learning curve to it. I keep making assumptions, and then I get my assumptions corrected. It wasn't small shelves I wanted. Or sorry, it wasn't shelves I wanted. It was small shelves. So you have to pay attention to who can build what. I didn't realize that I wasn't actually getting my shelves built. I'm not sure which day we're on, but we are starting to see progress on the town. We're starting to clear cut some room for some farmland from actual planting of the crops. and the workstations are starting to get ready. Now, normally, if you don't start in the swamp, if you don't start in this heavily of a forested area, you get quite a bit faster of a leap into the game. So I wouldn't judge my playthrough. This is just my particular way that I enjoy playing. These are like kind of brutal, really tough starts. I made another mistake. I mixed up the ground storage and the ground depository. These are like little teething problems that I keep making. It's okay. I'll get them fixed. I'll get them sorted. The ground storage is a more advanced version of the ground depository. I want a ground depository, and I want just like an area where each of these people can like slap down some goods. Now, you can see their market presence. So in the construction of their houses, they've managed to pick up a bunch of wood, a bunch of stone, a bunch of wood rods. I plan to buy this off them. I plan to buy this off them to give them money that they can then use to buy other resources and materials from me. So it's Sunday, so trade is not allowed to happen. It's a unique part of the game. You can't trade on a Sunday. But now I can check in on my people, right? I can see, oh, these guys have got a decent amount of cash in reserve. They've got a decent amount of meals in reserve. If I come in over here, oh, these guys have got a decent amount of meals in reserve. They've got a decent amount of cash. You know, there's a little bit of meals over here, a little bit of cash over here. And this is sort of integral to the management portion of the game, actually paying attention to the needs and wants and desires of your people. Right, let's take a look here at the storefront. These lads would like to sell a bunch of resources. I'm going to go ahead and basically buy everything off of them, except for their normal meals. I'll buy their clay, I will buy their stone, I'll buy their wood, and I'll buy their wood rods. This will cost me a bit of cash, but it's mostly just silver. It cleans up their inventory and puts it into my inventory for me to distribute and sell to my citizens. And I'm going to do the same thing for everyone. I'm going to buy all their spare resources because they don't need this clay. They don't need this stone. I can make use of it much better. And it also puts a little bit of cash back in their coffers that they can then, you know, the economy is circular in this game. The inn is starting to get constructed, which I'm very happy about. We've got some bedrooms available. The inn will need some pretty important stuff. So it'll need a bar. It'll need a cooking table. It'll need a cauldron. Ooh, right. I totally forgot to add a well to my town. Let me make a public area. Let's throw down a quick and dirty little public area. And then inside here, I'll build a well. I kind of forgot about building a well. It's kind of an important thing. Hopefully my workers will get to that. Hopefully someone will get to that. Alrighty, so farming is going to get started. Now, one of the things you have to keep in mind is the soil fertility. I don't know if this makes a big difference, what I'm about to do. But I don't think there's a reason to plant any grassland here. What I will do now is start placing some farming plots. I'm going to leave a gap for the bridge, and this will allow me to actually start the farming process. What I would like most of all is to make sure that I'm making some of these wheat, oats, barley, rye. That's because these can be used to produce straw. And then otherwise, I just kind of want a mixture of everything to have a little bit of resources. My soil doesn't need to regenerate right now. So we'll just kind of have this mix, and then this is fine. You can kind of like, if you want more potatoes, like if the king demands that you send in potatoes, you can increase the potato growing rate. And then on top of this, in this farmland, I'm also going to expand the farmland slightly. Wait, no. I'm going to wait until they actually plant and get the crops going, and then I'll expand the farmland. So we're just kind of like trying to slowly but carefully expand our little operation here. You can see the very first crops are getting planted. Wheat is growing. It's perfect soil, but very fast growing speed. Exactly what we want. 4 tiles away from the river, growing amazingly fast, and I would ideally like that to be basically my entire plan. I appear to be sleeping in the servant's cottage. That is a major dick move. What the hell? Why am I sleeping at the servant's cottage? Well, I suppose if people are going to sleep at the servant's cottage, I may as well expand it now to a more reasonable size. I can't believe my ruler basically kicked the people the servants onto the floor. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. So it looks like the fields are planted and my farmers are finished doing what they need to do. And the reason I'm doing things, rather than like laying out everything I want to do all at once, I'm doing it in little chunks. And that's because the way your people work is that they will do destruction jobs before they do construction jobs. So you want to avoid giving them too many destruction or construction jobs. I'm now going to assign this to my fisherman family. Their job will be to run the inn, and we'll slowly get it built up. We have a few things that we would like in the inn. We would like a bar area, so let's do a 3x3 room. Sorry, wait, no, how big are tables? Okay, tables are 4 wide, so if I want to make maximum use of this table, the room would want to be at least 5 wide. So I'll make that necessary change. The bar will go right there, and then we'll have tables running along the wall. 2 tables seating 5 people each should be, I think that should be good enough to start with for a small inn. We can always expand this, and we don't want to overbuild, right? We want to be careful, we want to be conservative. One thing we can now start to consider for my people is perhaps a little bit of furniture, like getting them their own wooden tables. This, however, would necessitate an expansion of their homes, but it's okay because the way we have it set up, our homes are very expandable. Now, let's set up some proper production in the Royal Forest. Let's go ahead and adjust our priorities. I'm kind of okay with them growing everything, including potentially berry bushes. So let's add a little bit of berry bushes to that. We're also going to come in here and build ourselves a couple of sawhorses. 2 and 3 sawhorses should be good enough to get us started. We'll want a storefront here as well to be able to sell resources. A row of small barrels to store resources, and then probably a row of ground depository to store resources as well. And this will just give this area somewhere to go. Now, similarly, in the farming area, we're going to have to do some clear cutting, although we're not quite ready for that because we haven't gotten our first harvest yet. So we'll just kind of like play around and play patiently here. But I'm really enjoying seeing my town come together. Like, we're about halfway through spring, and you can kind of start to see the vision come together, right? Things are getting built. We've got sawhorses now, so we actually have plank production. Now, the important thing is I get all of the stuff that they produce in here. This all belongs to me. They get paid a wage right now. Now, eventually, I would like to go to scootage, where people will freely exchange goods between each other, and I just take a portion. But for now, I'm happy with that. Oh, we have a pregnancy. One of your villagers has been blessed with the gift of life. Expect new family members soon. So Theodorum Nash, who is male, excuse me, recently scolded by authority. Someone is pregnant, basically, but I'm not sure who. But, you know, the game wasn't very clear on that one. Oh my god, you can gather intelligence reports on your peasants? Oh my goodness. I didn't even... There's like espionage in this game. This game has a lot more to it than I was really expecting from... I thought it was just an average colony builder type thing, but there is actually an awful lot more to it. It looks like we have some trash piles in my own personal storage. So let's go ahead and see if we can rectify that by making a few extra ground depositories, a couple of small barrels, and a small shelf or 2, and that should maybe give us a little bit of extra room that we're looking for. My 2 soldiers here are incredibly miserable. So I need to make them a little bit happier. In order to do that, I'll build them just an extremely basic bedroom. It's far from ideal, but it'll get them out of the cold and sort of alleviate their misery. Which is honestly the entire point of these games, is just to slowly but surely alleviate the misery of people. Now, you don't necessarily want to make them happy, but alleviating misery, I think, is a good goal. That's kind of like my main objective when I play these games. People should probably not be totally miserable. I don't think I need quite so many people producing wood right now. So what I'm going to go do is go into the woodcutter family and take 2 more people as servants from them. Somebody needs to look after the children, and I think that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and make you my servant, and I'll make you my servant as well. Right, we have a very basic barracks up now. That'll keep them slightly less miserable. And I should start to think about what's really, really important. And I think the really, really important thing is that I get this inn up. So I'm actually going to de-assign it from these guys and try to get it built nice and quick by my servants, because I have a ton of servants working for me. I have on the order of... Yeah, I have 6 labourers. Now that we have housing up and we have food production up and we have all that sort of jazz, our number 1 priority is to get this going, the inn. If we can get the inn up, we can start to expand the town. We are about to hit summer too. It'll be the first summer that we enter into. And that will change the availability of what crops can actually grow, believe it or not. The seasons do affect your growing. I don't think you can grow crops in winter. I could be wrong on that one. It is tax payment day, so my villagers will pay taxes to me according to their zone fealty at the end of the season. They always do the best to pay as much as they're supposed to, then they collect the gold they're entitled to from the stewardry zones. So, this is tax payment day. We are going to collect all of these resources. They'll dump it all over here. Unfortunately, I think some of these things just went out of season. If I go ahead and check my farmland, and I adjust my priorities, I believe rice, carrots, and potatoes. I think rice and carrots just went out of season, so any rice and carrots that were here will have to be destroyed or potentially harvested. I'm not sure. It depends on what they do. That's something I haven't encountered before, actually, believe it or not. But they are doing a little bit of harvesting. So I think it would be a good idea to build a couple of flailing spots for the grain. There you go, 3 flailing spots. So they should be able to now process the grain into straw and the actual grain itself. Then a few ground depositories to keep things safe. A few small barrels to keep things safe, as well as a storefront to sell their wares in the local area. Now, I know they have multiple storefronts. I don't know about the efficiency of that, but having a storefront on the farm is probably not a terrible idea. Eventually, we will actually build up a dedicated market for people to sell their goods at the centre of town, but, you know, these are the things that take time. The inn is coming along nicely. It's honestly the biggest progression hurdle. I kind of, you know, when I'm showing off the game, I kind of do regret a little bit departing in a swamp, because I could have had all this stuff built if there was no forest here. But I think it goes to show you that there's, you know, you can kind of choose your level of challenge. I think a lot of the videos on this game never really showcased a hard start like this, where the entire map is just filled with difficult to process resources. And the inn is finally coming together. One thing I didn't consider is that I probably needed to have more space between my tables, but we can always rework the inn later. So while this isn't a perfect inn, it at least has room for about 5 people to sit down and have a drink, have a bit of food. That's just part of the learning curve of the game. I really like just the kind of, you know, I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of rim-worldy city builders. And it's for the particular reason that I'm always like the ultra deity god micromanaging every single little tiny aspect of my people's lives. I kind of like the idea that I'm, looks like a wolf got into the town and got into a bit of a fight there. I like the idea that I'm the king, but there's a lot of delegation, right? The people will trade with each other. I don't know, there's just something about that kind of, it kind of suits me. It kind of feels nice. I like it. And I think people will enjoy that aspect of the game quite a bit. So I'm excited to see what people think about this. Because the more I play it, the more I'm getting into it. The more I could see hours of my life being sucked away. Like, I've already played an hour and a half for only a few minutes of a video. And like, look at this. We've built like little houses. We haven't even built roofs yet. We're in summer. Oh, when autumn comes, things are going to get scary. Oh, a child was born. So we got Adberg, who joined the family of Mash. Very cool. So villagers can't really do much when they're young. There's hunger. I think that's because I built a kitchen. Now, so what kind of storage does a kitchen require? So if we take a look at the cooking table, it requires flour, water caskets, and cooked ingredients. Cooked ingredients come from, I believe, the cauldron. And the cauldron needs firewood. Well, how is firewood produced? We have a little bit of firewood in storage, but my question is, how is it produced? I would imagine it's produced out of wood rods. There we go, wooden block. So anyone can build a wooden block. It costs wood, and it uses wood to produce firewood. Excellent. So we'll need a wooden block here outside the kitchen for people to make firewood. We'll need somewhere for wood to be stored, so I'll give it a couple of ground depositories along the edge here. Now here's a question: where do cooked ingredients get stored? Doesn't seem like they're stored anywhere at the moment. Oh well, I suppose we'll just put a couple small shelves in here. Now, in terms of managing the inventory, how do I manage the inventory of this? Let's have a look. It's a warehouse book, I believe. No. Right, storage priority. So you can have all the drink you want. You can have all the types of food. You can have firewood. You're even allowed to have a bit of wood. So a bit of wood can get stored here, so they'll be able to pick up the wood and actually create the firewood that feeds the cauldron and does everything else. So I'd say the inn is actually very close to being able to be opened. We just need to do a small bit more, a bit of land clearing and floor building and construction. We're on the verge of it. We've used up the vast majority of the straw in the town, so we might want to look into alternative construction materials, or indeed just like producing more straw, which we are doing. We are slowly but surely producing a little bit more straw. They are getting to work on that. I think though the inn is just about ready to be opened. So let's go ahead and switch this zone over to the Whiston family, whose job it will be to manage this little inn for us. And I hope now that we'll start to get visitors, and more importantly, I can go ahead and start building a few dirt paths around to clear up some of these trees. I believe your people walk faster if they have a dirt path, so I'm just going to go ahead and just place a couple key places. I've been kind of watching the way people walk around the town, and people are hanging out in the tavern doing what they should do. That's perfect. They're selling beer, and now we might get some visitors. Looks like they're selling 59 normal meals at the bar. Let me see if I can go ahead and start to sell some beer to them as well. Yeah, it looks like I have a bit of beer for sale. So I'm going to go ahead and sell all my beer off. I'll give them a 10% discount because I'm the only one who has beer right now. But they should be able to now pick up beer and actually sell it at the tavern, which will make them quite a bit happier. So yeah, they put the beer in the casks and now the beer should be getting sold here. See, there's 27 beer pints now. So this should start to make my town a little bit happier. We've got some of the amenities online. I may actually start renovation of the bar very, very early here because I am not quite happy with the way that it turned out. It'll take a little bit of time, but they'll get to work on it. Now here we go. This is perfect. We have a foraging family looking to want to join. It's a family of 3, so it's not a very big family, but we could build these guys a house and then put them in charge of the inn instead of putting the fishermen in at the head of the inn. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this extra foraging family, but they won't be given a job for a little while. What I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and give them their own little house. So they'll need a little 3-bed shack that's put together as own. This should be a good enough spot right here for their house. And now the good news is these lads have actually brought money with them. They have brought materials, economic resources that my economy will now be able to make use of. So I'll assign this new little household to them, and this will be a free farm as well. Eventually we'll figure that out, but they'll start to build their own little house here. Somehow a pair of horses have managed to end up inside the kitchen. Unfortunately, they're about to be boxed in, and I don't know if they'll ever be able to leave if they get boxed in. So we may just have horses as a decorative option here in the tavern forever. Oh dear. I spent another good chunk of my money buying up all the spare resources that a lot of my people had. They had a whole bunch of random things that they'd saved up. So let's go ahead and start to expand this farming zone. I think that should be more than enough farm for like the entirety of the early game. And I may actually break this farm up into 2 sets of families depending on how well these guys can manage it on their own. Oh, we got ourselves another pregnancy. Perfect. Our town population is continuing to expand. Now people are a little bit bored with self-expression. I'm not really sure how to solve self-expression. Here we go. We have another family looking to join. We do want to be careful about how and which way we expand. This would be a mining family. These guys could produce stone and clay most of all, which could be quite handy. They'd be able to produce mine shafts and they consume firewood and rope. I don't know if I'm going to bring these guys into the town just yet. I'm going to go ahead and reject this family to join my town. I think I'm more focused on getting my food production and basic consumer resources up and running. So that would be things like clothing. That would be things like beer, if I could get a brewery going. And I also haven't fully integrated my new family yet, my new tavern holders, and these guys haven't yet gone back to fishing. So I haven't yet diversified my resource. So it looks like they've got their basic house set up here. Let's go ahead and get them a couple extra chairs. Boom, boom. Get them a nice hay wall around their house and a nice little wooden door. Off they pop. Perfect. So once they get that built, we can start looking into just maybe some other decisions that will make for them. The tavern is looking an awful lot more spacious. So let's continue to redevelop the tavern. I like this process of like, oh, that doesn't work. I'll try a new thing. That is a very satisfying process that I find in games. We'll put a small barrel here. It'd be kind of nice to have like a little private table down the end here, just like nestled up against the wall with a wooden bench and like a little chair. All right, let's go ahead and kind of redesign the tavern here. I mean, the tavern is fine, but I would like it to be slightly more efficient, and I'd like a little bit more room for beds. Because that seems to be the bit of a bottleneck here. So by having more room for beds, that means I just have a little bit of an overflow, and the need for a house isn't like immediate. So the tavern should now get reconstructed. We've kind of shifted things around. We're doing a bit of remodeling. And honestly, we could probably continue to shift things around if we incorporate this outside area, which we probably will. We might shift the kitchen down here a little bit. But, you know, there's something just... This might actually be the very first game of this style where I actually enjoy rebuilding my town. Usually that's my least favorite part of these games, is having to go back and rebuild how my town looks, and I built this slightly wrong, I need to move it. But in this one, it just seems sort of actually built into the experience. It's so seamless and easy to do. I don't know if I'm a bit mad here, but Do you not usually, is that not usually the least favorite part of the game, having to rebuild your town or when you learn a new thing? But in this one, there's sort of a progression to it. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what is so satisfying about this. Do you know what it is? It's the same reason I love Victoria 2. I don't feel like I'm the commander of this town. I don't feel like I'm in total control. I feel like this is like a little anthill that I'm observing. I don't feel like I am the be all end all of what's happening here. I feel like I'm just like a little cog in the machine, you know, or rather, I'm not I'm a cog in the machine. I'm like a benevolent observer of an anthill, just kind of carefully nudging and designing things and trying to build a nice life for the little occupants of my anthill. Yeah, I think this tavern layout works a lot better. We've got a lot more beds, a lot more overflow, so a lot more people will be able to join. We've got a ton, and I mean a ton, of benches now compared to where we were. And I think it's time that we took this in off of the hands of the fishermen and we give it to the new Goither Danville family. So this will be a free farm. They'll pay me a little bit of taxes. And now we can finally build up our fishing pool spot. Now, what I would like to do is to actually expand it slightly to just be in line with their house. This is fine. And then also necessary, we're going to have to go ahead and just do a bit of dirt pathing here. Just clean up the shore so that they have a workable area. We will want a few fishing nets, like across this little bridge, like so, and then probably a few fishing rods offset from the bridge, so that we have like a little fishing bridge essentially, which I really love. That's a very cute little idea that they have like a little custom bridge that they fish from. Now, in order to build that, they will need access to yarn, so I'm going to have to start selling yarn. So I come in here to the trade and I look for yarn. I would love an option up here to be able to type in and search for a thing rather than having to like look through, but there's yarn. I will sell yarn until tax. I'll give a 10% discount for my people because it's only copper. Copper is fairly cheap. Now, this family is actually out of money, so I'm going to go ahead and buy all of their resources just to put a bit of money back into their coffers. They were running a little bit low there. They were running a bit low. And I might actually grant them just a small bit of cash. I'm going to give them 2 gold. Oh, they have a little bit of money. I'll give them 1 gold just to keep them tiding over. Because we're trying to get the town economy set up, so we just need to be mindful of how much money people have. Like the farming family is doing fine. They've got 7 gold going. The woodcutting family, they're fine. They got 6 gold going. Right, so what is this family? Oh, a carpentry family. Now, this might actually be really useful. They're bringing a couple of chickens as well. They've got chickens. Oh, no, sorry. That's a cat and a dog. They've got a cat and a dog. So we'll have to figure out how to house a cat and a dog. So we could set up a carpentry place for them. They consume planks and wood. What would be really nice about this is these guys would enable me to build taller. They would be able to provide construction services in the form of basic repair kits and also building more advanced buildings. So I think I will bring the carpenters in, and it looks like we are heading into late summer where all these trees are about to produce fruit and acorns and all that lovely stuff, which is quite nice. So we need to come up with an area for carpentry. Now, this is my wood production area, so it would be quite nice if my carpentry wasn't too far away from that. Unfortunately, just the way that things have worked out, that's going to be quite difficult. But I reckon somewhere up here wouldn't be bad. It's not too far from wood production, you know. So they reckon a carpentry area. I can't seem to find... Oh, there it is, carpentry. They've got a builder's guild and a carpentry area. They reckon it should be 10 times 8. So we'll pop down a little carpentry area for them. They also need a household. I'll pop a little household here for them. And we'll get them started on their own house. They'll need somewhere for their cats and dogs to live, but I don't really know how that works. First things first for these guys is getting them set up with their own little house. And so to that end, how big was this? This was 6 by 7. Let's just go ahead and carve out a 7 by 7 area of flooring. And then for the carpentry area, we'll worry about that later. So we'll get them to work on cutting this down. And in the meantime, they'll just live in the tavern, which is fine, I think. One thing I'd like to do is to continue building green little pathways around my town. Another thing I definitely need to get work on with my servants is like building a better barracks and actually building a manor for my lord. You know, that should definitely formulate a part of my near future plans. So who's living in the tavern right now? It looks like some smelters might be moving into the town. They might try and move in. But I would like to have some miners before I had some smelters. We need to think about maybe setting... Well, I guess we probably don't need a caravan for the first year, to be honest with you. Let's make a group of barrels here for the fishing area, and we'll pop a storefront down as well, just so stuff can be sold. Now, eventually I will develop these into proper fishing areas, right? They'll have their own building, they'll have their own storage. It'll look really nice. It'll all be tier 2. Right now we're just basically building crap. plated roof requires sticks. Oh, a new family here. So this is a smelting family. They can run inns, they can run taverns, they can run the furnace. Now the furnace would consume a whole bunch of resources that I have no way to produce right now. Now I could produce brick with them, but I'm going to go ahead and reject that family. I'd like a different family. I'm happy to start bringing people into the town. One thing I do need to check. Oh, I can request a family. Let's have a look. Favor points. So I have 100 favor points. I could recruit some tailors, some hunters, or some bakers. I don't need any nobles. I'm trying to think about what would I need. Brewing could be handy. Rope making, tailoring. I don't know what I need. So I'm going to play it slow and let the game hand like decisions to me. I definitely don't feel like I'm ready for mining and smithing though. That just feels out of the question. I haven't even got my carpenters up. But I think we'll go ahead and place some plated roofs. Let's see, cob walls. How much clay do I have? I think it would be good to start properly upgrading people's houses. But to that end, I'm also going to need a marketplace. So I'll start clearing out the marketplace as a long-term goal. And I'm going to start upgrading people's houses a little bit. Because some of the things they need, they don't have. Like, for example, nobody has a cauldron or a cooking table. They'd like to be able to buy and cook their own meals. I don't know if they need wells. But there's just like a few little things here that they need, like their own wood blocks. They could make use of their own campfire. So I think I'm going to expand the houses here to have a much larger blueprint. And then in autumn, I think a big focus for us will be to maybe do wattle or cob walls. We won't be able to do wooden walls or anything like that, but I think maybe getting a wattle wall down. We have a decent amount of clay, so it could be probably doable. Get wattle walls down with plated roofs just to keep people comfy. Maybe have some campfires going. So I think it'd be quite nice to like just kind of like build a little thing. We've got like a small barrel. Now housing, like actual beds, would be kind of tough. That'll be a tough thing for us to manage. I think though there's a possibility of maybe like recruiting your entire town into your service, with the exception of like a couple of people to keep your families alive, and then build a really nice town that way. So yeah, we're getting things built. This house is getting an upgrade. I think it would definitely behoove me to build a campfire in this house to keep them healthy. Here looks fine. Now I think we're managing to make good progress here. So let me just double check how I've redesigned this house. So they have a pair of drawers coming up. They've got a small barrel. They've got a cooking table. They've got a small shelf. They've got a campfire to keep themselves warm. They have some basic outdoor storage so they can get things like firewood. I will need to produce and sell firewood. Do you know what that they need then? If they're going to be able to produce firewood, what definitely every house will need is probably a wooden block, because the wooden block is what you use to make firewood. So that'd be handy for them to have. And now I guess I will go ahead and upgrade these guys. I don't have much straw in the bank. I think I'm waiting for the straw taxation to come in. But that's not important. What we can do is, I think, can I just place wattle walls directly over these? I can. So let's go ahead and get some basic wattle walls. That'll make use of the excessive, and I mean excessive amount of wooden rods that I have. And I'll do the exact same thing with the plated roof over this whole endeavor. And then that's this house redesigned. I reckon we need to go ahead and upgrade this farmer's house. They've got 7 people living here now. We might need to make more households, but we'll have to kind of figure that out. We've got a bunch of kids. I think the big thing would be to just get the walls rebuilt, put a little wooden door over here. Let's go ahead and dismantle everything on the inside that we aren't keeping, like so. They could honestly use another straw bed, so I'll just like maybe pop one right there. That's fine. We'll also put in a little pair of little drawers for them. They would like a campfire to keep the room warm. So a campfire there looks totally fine. Oh, they need a roof, so we may as well get ready with the plated roof. So we'll go there because we've just infinite sticks. We have all the sticks. They're going to need, like most other houses, a wooden block that they can make stuff from. I think one of my stockpiles might be inaccessible over there, but we'll fix that later. Erase this. So that's starting to look kind of okay. They need new tables and chairs, and they need a cooking area. They need to be able to make their own meals. So a cauldron, a cooking table, somewhere to store their cooked food, somewhere to store their raw food, and then I'll give them an extra door, and then I'll rebuild their dining room right in the center. So that'll keep these guys busy for a while getting that house built up. And I'm going to do basically the exact same thing with this house over here, although I might change some things around a little bit. If I go to their zone, what do you got? You got 4 population in here, so you're fine as you are. I don't really need to change too much. We will go ahead and build a wattle wall. Now, you'll want a door. out to your work area, ideally, yeah, for sure. You'll probably want a door out to your storage area, and then probably a door out to the main street. So now we have to design around that. Well, I think the first thing to do is to dismantle the existing table and chairs and the existing housing, and we'll kind of work from there once that work is done. This is a very unorthodox map. This is, oh, 2 villagers are fighting. So who's fighting? You. Oh, you got into a bit of a fight. Well, I mean, you know, no jail available. We had to release a criminal from freedom. Well, we'll build a jail eventually. Like, to be honest, this is kind of a little bit more of a hardcore survival world than it is anything else. But man, I don't know why, but there's something really satisfying about redesigning a house and then watching them build it. So what have we got here? We got tailors. Now, tailors make use of what resources? Let's have a look. They've got a tailor's workshop. So they'll make use of yarn, silk, and wool. I don't know where yarn and silk comes from, or wool. I imagine I would need the proper stuff for that. They'll produce yarn, silk, clothing. So this would be maybe a good family to add. They're a family size of 5, so I could draft them in for now. And I think I will actually draft them into my work crew. So let's have a look. They've got 3 adults. Let's go ahead and grab a servant from this family. I'm also going to take Holger into my household as well. My domain just needs to be quite large. I just need a lot of laborers, really, because my situation when it comes to housing and just like having enough workers to cut down and develop the town is just kind of poor at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do is, people are having a hard time getting clay. What I'm going to do is go into my market and I'm going to give the clay away. I'm going to sell all at a 90% discount just to give my town a little bit of a kickstart. Sorry, that's wood, not clay. Where's my clay? There we go. I want to sell all of my clay for 90% discount so people just won't buy more than they need. They'd still have to pay for it. They should now come over and buy the clay that they need and start building their houses. One thing I could also do is, I don't think I actually need guards. Although, actually, people just started getting into fights, so maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it'd be good to have the guards rolling around. I'd only intended to play this game for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but I'm 2.5 hours in, and I actually don't want to stop. Like, I haven't even gotten through half a year yet. That's absurd. I've been running on maximum speed this entire time. I'm loving it. I can't explain it. There's something crunchy about it. Maybe it's because I'm playing on this like super brutal, strange world, and I have to kind of wait for everything to get done, and I have to clear cut the forest and all that jazz. But yeah, I can't explain it. So people are a little bit bored, which is fair enough, and people think the domain is a little bit ugly. But I ask you, who asked? Oh right, I need to give away twigs. See, this is important. God, there's actually important game mechanics that I keep forgetting. I need to actually give away the twigs as well. So I'm going to sell these twigs for $1 each. That's fine. 80% discount. Sell them all. Go hog wild. And now they should be able to buy the twigs they need to build the houses. I think that was the stopping point now. And I'm also selling planks, right? I'm going to sell planks at an 80% discount as well. I'm worried about depleting the income of my Villeins until we have like a proper circular economy going. So we got a hunting family here. There's a hunting area designated for hunting wild animals for food. They consume nothing, they produce nothing. Somehow I don't think that's true. I could bring these guys in. Yeah, let's bring in a hunting family. And then let's go into the hunting family. And who can I recruit? Manuelin, you shall become a servant of my house. Perfect. Now, I don't know what a good hunting area looks like. So this is where we're getting into like areas where I just really don't understand the game. So where do I see animals kind of roaming around? Mostly up here to the north. So let's have like a little hunting area right on the edge of town. Do you know what? That's actually too far out. Hang on, let me make one that's a little bit closer. Right, so we'll have a little hunting area here, and we'll place down a little household here. We'll assign this household to the hunting family. There'll be a free farm, that's fine. And then the hunting area we'll assign to them. But this time I'm actually going to give them stockage. No, we're not ready to do trading, so they'll be stewards of this land actually. I think it'd be good to put a roof over the tavern now as well to keep people warm in the winter. We'll let them get to work on that one. Going to let my workers calm down. I think I need to get the market up now. My people need to be able to exchange and sell goods and do that sort of stuff. So I'm going to build up the market area. Now ideally I would set up like a nice little cute little market, but a little open air market will do the job for now. Eventually I'll be reworking and rebuilding this town. So why aren't you guys building? You've been given the orders, you have all the resources, right? You need wood, rods, straw, and clay. And if I check your inventories, you have straw, you have clay, and you have wood rods. Oh, there we go. Now they're building them. Interesting. And we're heading into autumn, so the world is changing. How lovely. Right, perfect. So we have a marketplace storefront up for people to sell if they don't already have one. I'm going to go ahead and change people's rights. After this tax season, I think people will have the right to some of the resources. I'm going to take 50% for now and sell everything at discount, I think. No, we'll see. We do have insufficient storage, so that's something we do need to take care of. We just have so much wood. Trying to remember how I built. Right, that's right. I click on here and I go to ground depository. We do have carpenters now, so I wonder if I could start building these slightly more advanced ones. These advanced ones I think need to be inside. Oh, no, sorry. I had my blueprints turned off. For feck's sake. Yes, ground storage. Go ahead and pop me down a few ground storages there and see if my carpenters will build them. You know what? I think carpenters actually, you need to buy their services. So I'm just going to put down a depository actually. Now that I thought about that, I would imagine that carpenters are now, once you get beyond like the super basic houses, you actually have to like pay people to do like advanced work. So I think we'll just get some basic storage down and try to get all these things stored. I think it would be nice to get a caravan marketplace up so that I could sell off things I have in excess. Another farming family. We could make use of a farming family. The only question I have is, what's the food situation like? We've only got 520 normal meals. We have a ton of food, but only so many normal meals. I'll bring them in. Let's have a look here. The Royal Tax Report. Here are all the resources you're obliged to provide in 1 year from now. Do not disappoint me. He wants blueberries, grain, melons, corn, cabbage, apples, fish, parsnips, potatoes, carrots, rice grain. He wants wood, planks, wood rods, and straw. Those are things that I can definitely supply to you, my lord. Right, so tax was paid today. Let's change how the town works. We're transitioning away from like an initial economy, I think. And instead of having stewardry, I think I'm going to allow them to have stockage. And I'm going to take 1/3 of everything that they produce, but they no longer have to pay taxes to me. Or I no longer pay them a wage. And then ideally they'll be able to sell off whatever they have in excess to other people. But like this family has plenty of finances. They're doing fine. Oh, looks like these guys have managed to start building their own little house. Now they're walking around with all their money in their pocket, but that should be fine. We'll just build them a little starter home. So who is this going to be for? This is for the guys managing the inn. This is for the carpenters, I believe. So I'll give them this house. There you go. This will also be their carpentry zone. They'll be stewards of this. That's fine for now. And we shall get them a straw double bed, a regular straw bed, as well as they're probably going to need a campfire for the winter, a chest to store their goods, small shelves to store their meals, a couple ground depositories to store their excess goods, and then we'll kind of leave them at that. But I mean, when you look and consider this town from the beginning of the game, God, we've come along a very, very long way. I think it would be nice now. I don't know how much clay we have knocking around is the thing. Well, let's have a look. What's for sale here? They've got a ton of acorns. They're selling their dog and cat. What the hell, lads? 2 chickens for sale. Those could be handy. 2 male chickens. Those are not very useful. But yeah, they're running their storefronts now. It's all part of the game. I have nothing I need to buy at the moment. I have absolutely no idea what they plan to do with those acorns. I hope they don't plan to cook meals out of them. The acorns. Jesus. I do need to get a kitchen up, but like, I mean, I have 8 people working on clearing the land. It just takes a very, very long time to get anything done when you get such a dense forest. Although I do feel like things are starting to pick up, like things are starting to happen fairly quickly. Villagers starving, profession farming. You have money. You have meals. You're trapped. That's the issue. Get him out of there. Guys, get him out. He's trapped. Please. Okay, thank you. Okay, he got himself into a bit of trouble there. That happens. Thankfully, we managed to save him. So let me have a look at the old roofs. Most of the houses now are starting to get roofs up. I'm not finished redesigning this one. You guys need at least 1 small barrel. You definitely want a cooking table. You definitely want a cauldron. You definitely want a campfire to keep the room warm. That just seems like a no-brainer to me. And you definitely want a table and chairs somewhere. I reckon 5 spaces at your table should be enough. 4 should be enough. It's a house of 4. You should be fine. You guys should probably have a roof. A plated roof is good enough to get you through the winter. It's, you know, it's not insulating. It's not breathable, right? It's resistant to the cold. So at least my people are less likely to freeze to death this winter. All right, people are socializing in the tavern. The tavern is hopping. It's absolutely hopping. I'd love to see that. Let's build a little wattle wall. We're going to rebuild the tavern now a little bit before winter comes. How are my finances? My finances are fine, actually. Now, I could seize resources, but I don't really see a reason to do that. I just love the idea of going to the tavern and having a few drinks. And like the barman just starts ripping down the wall and building a new one. I love these kind of games for those idiosyncratic moments. There's feckin' wolves pooping in me fields. Oh, so you can actually take a moment and look. Oh, Jesus, we've got like Schrodinger's cooking ingredients over here. But you can actually see what each individual family is looking to buy as well. So like these guys need wood rods, they need straws, they need clay, they need clothing. So speaking of clothing, maybe it would be a good idea for me to start selling my clothing at a reasonable price, I think. So we will start selling clothing because people seem to be in demand for that. Now I'm trying to remember what ingredients count for cooking. So let me have a look here at the old cooking table, because I probably should have been selling cooking ingredients, but I haven't been. And so if we take a look at the cauldron, ingredients. So I'm not sure what the ingredient category is, but I reckon if I go to my warehouse and I go to my trade, I can start selling apples. I'll sell blueberries. I'll sell cabbage. I'll sell it all. Whatever people want, they can have. I will set the until taxed limit though, because I believe my guy, my king wants me to do that. And I'm going to give them like a little 10% discount. I wish I could apply that across the board. Wait, I'm selling to the caravans. No, I would love hotkeys. That'd be nice. Hotkeys would be great for this kind of a moment here, where I could just like set entire category to ignore, or like multi-select. There's a few little like UI things that I would love to see changed about the game. But generally, I think it's fine. Yeah, we'll sell these. We'll sell these. We'll sell. Yeah, because I'm actually the one who holds all these things, so it's my job to distribute them. So a small little error on my part that I wasn't actually effectively distributing food. But we'll see how they get on now that I've just put all this food up for sale. I don't need to sell the wine barrels. I'll sell clothing to my people. They need clothing. So let's see. Do they all come over? Oh, they do. They come over and start buying. Excellent. So tax-wise, let's go ahead and switch you now from stewardry to scootage. I'll take a third of what you make, just for now. Eventually, I will lower that. You as well. I'm going to go ahead and take you out of stewardry, and I'm going to take you to stockage or scootage. And I'll take a third of what you make. So let's have a look at... Oh God, there's actually so much to this game I really want to dig into. I would love to start a new game and really get a handle on what they want, like what their desires are. So did everyone just spend all their money? No, you guys still have money. You're fine. Oh my God, look how much food they bought. They all bought so much food. They all bought like an insane amount of food. Okay. All right. So I figured out one of the problems I had was I wasn't distributing food properly across my town. That's an important discovery to make this deep into the game. I think I've been sitting here and I've been playing this for about 3 hours, and honestly, genuinely, the time has completely flown by. If you're in the market for something that's in the direction of RimWorld, in the direction of Dwarf Fortress, but you want something that has a bit of a chew to it, something with a different twist to it, this kind of market-based Lords and Villeins game where there's like a whole hierarchy in a way that resources are moved around your economy and people trade with each other and they sell things. I reckon this has a bit of appeal that you might want to look into. Let me know if you'd like to see me play more of this. Make sure you check out the description. This was a sponsored video, full disclosure, although this is my genuine opinion. I'm quite surprised. I genuinely was surprised by how good this game was to play. I thought it was just going to be a fairly generic city builder, but it actually took me by surprise and I've quite enjoyed my time with it. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Check it out, link in the description. Love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.